What's up, guys? We're back with another episode. Today, I'm going to do some match breakdowns. We're going to be talking about some ADCC 2013 matches. I got Gary Tonin versus Dylan Dennis. I got Rafa Mendes and Joao Miao. And then I have John Kavanaugh and Ollie Geddes that I found on Stuart Cooper's page. So big shout out to Stuart Cooper because I'm getting all the videos today from his YouTube page. It should be up here in the comments in the post or the actual post. And yeah, it's gonna be a good time today. So before I get started, we got to get the sponsors done. As you can see, I put all their websites and infos up here in the actual post. So if you want to go to any of the sponsors pages, their websites are up here. You can check it out and get yourself some great products. First off, obviously Nogi Nation, shout out to them. Shirts back here. They do rash guards, shirts. We got fight shorts coming. My Wicked Warrior coffee's up there, which is actually what I'm drinking right now with my mugs, the Baby Yoda mugs, Baby Yoda rash guards, because, you know, I'm a Mandalorian fiend. So that's all available at www.nogination.com. Also, we have CBD Yumi for the highest quality CBD. cbduyumi.com/Starlord. And that stuff is awesome. Literally, their topicals have saved my joints. Like, I have a lot of problems with my joints and with my, ligaments and stuff like that, just from doing so much training. God damn it, Bill. Fucking broke my distraction already. Just from so much of my training and fighting MMA and all that stuff, I just don't take good care of my body. So the CBD has really helped me a lot and kept me on the mat. So go check that out. There are tinctures, their sublingual stuff is all really high quality. It's made from California. There's no THC in it, so you won't pop on a drug test for anyone that needs to get drug tested for anything like that. And I mean, 420 was yesterday, so hopefully you guys can still pass your drug test when we get back. Next one, we got Liberty Ammo. All right. Liberty Ammo is the defensive ammo that I use. I talk about it every podcast. I use their 9mm ultralights. It's half the weight and twice the velocity of your traditional defensive ammo. So I really recommend those guys. Their website is up here. Yesterday, I showed you guys some more of their defensive ammo and stuff like that. They just gave me a code. So if you want to get ammo and get a discount, you just use code STARLORD at checkout and you get 10% off and you'll save a little bit of money and potentially save your life. So big shout outs to those guys. Really love that company and really enjoy the products they put out. So without any further ado, let's get into some match breakdowns. Let me just get my screen shared over to you guys. We're going to start with Gary Tonin and Dylan Dennis from ADCC 2013. Sorry, I'm just sharing this stuff out in a couple more pages. We're also I'm going to be back later today with Submission Underground breakdown because they got an event coming up in 2 weeks. So that's the only live sports going on right now. And they got some really good matches on it. So I'm going to go ahead and give you my thoughts on it, maybe bring on some of the competitors to talk to and stuff like that. And then today at 4 p.m., I have Brandon McCaffrey coming on. He's giving away something on the podcast too. So make sure you guys are watching that one. Definitely sorry about not having Zach Maslany on yesterday. We had a scheduling conflict, so him and I are going to get back to it shortly. I'm going to have him probably on next week. But yeah, be back today at 4 p.m. Probably right after this, I'll come on and look at the sub card and all that stuff for you guys. And then tonight at 7 p.m., we're going to go over Corona Camp, and I'm going to teach. So let's get into the first match. Gary and Dylan, ADCC. And again, all these matches are available on Stuart Cooper's YouTube page. I put that up there in the comments for you guys. And Stuart does a really good job, obviously, with all his filming and stuff like that. I mean, if you've been in jiu-jitsu any period of time, you've watched a ton of his videos. And I'm pretty sure he's the only one that has really good footage from ADCC 2013. Actually, no, this is 2015. This is Brazil. Gary goes right away for a flying triangle / armbar attempt. Gary's really good. He gives up his neck because he has a lot of sit through and redrags and stuff like that he likes to do from the front headlock when he's being attacked. Gary's wrestling is super underrated. I think he wrestled at Rutgers. I know he was the jiu-jitsu coach over at Rutgers for a long time. Super well-rounded individual. Gary decides to sit, try to get that Russian 2-on-1 control. Dylan's going to go right away into those leg drags. Gary's always so relaxed. Whenever I watch his matches, I just can't help but admire his composure. And Gary has real good wrestling up too. So he'll sit guard and then wrestle back up, which obviously comes from his wrestling background. But the thing that Gary does so well is he chains everything together. Right away, he got snapped down, shot right into a high crotch, switched to a whizzer throw, and gets it. Dylan does a good job there, right away attacking from the throw into a deep half sweep, and he comes up right back up to his feet there. Again, Gary with that sit to 2-on-1 control. I think Gary was the first person I saw really playing butterfly half, and that really got me interested in it. Dylan cooking his leg a little bit in that modified single stack pass position. Dylan's the bigger guy here, so he's trying to kind of lean on Gary, make him carry his weight a lot. Real good job by Gary to invert through right away into a leg lock attempt. He's going for the outside heel hook. Dylan controls his hip, or he doesn't allow his hip to be controlled so he can get to this running man position and pummel his foot back in. And we talk about that when we see leg locks. It's not only control the knee, but control the hip helps stop the rotation. You see Gary get in this position a lot, double stack pass, and he just straightens his legs and immediately inverts through. Dylan did a good job that time staying heavy with his hips, not allowing Gary to fully turtle that time. So Gary starts trying to get his half guard back immediately into this deep half style sweep. Remember, guys, don't be afraid to hit that share button. Helps me get paid. Paid. Gary does a really good job of dominating the grip fighting. You know, he goes for those Greco finger ties. This is the first time we see Dylan pull guard in this match. Right away, Gary goes for that diving Kimura. I think Dylan decided he didn't want to be down there too much. But again, Gary really likes to get, right here, he does this shit a lot. He'll give up his neck and go for a slide by and a sit through. He has a lot of attacks from this front headlock that he does that lead into dominant positions. So he'll bait his neck into a guillotine or a front headlock for his opponent. And this level of nice outside trip by Gary, God, that was fucking gorgeous. All right, we're going to go back and watch that one again because that is just too good not to watch. Let's go right away to that outside trip, and this is right before the finish. Steps him forward, outside trip. Look how he set that up, right? Right off those Greco hand fights, right? So he's here, take your underhooks, Then he gets his Greco hand grip on the right hand, makes Dylan step forward. Right, here it comes. Step forward, outside trip, or inside trip. Right away into the single, drags him back into bounds. Right away into a leg entanglement. Right away into the knee bar here. That finishes everything. Now this time Gary has a deeper control of the knee and the hip. Good observation there by Stephen. I really think the calmness of Gary is something that really gets to his opponents. Let's go back through that finishing sequence one more time. The level of composure Gary has really it kind of confuses his opponents into thinking that there's no right answer, and you see like the Emil Fishers and the guys that just don't give a shit about positions have that same effect, because it's like, oh man, am I doing something wrong? So you start second guessing, and the minute you start second guessing, you're a little slower. And Gary's already quick as it is, and it allows him to really get that advantage over his opponents. Good observation here by Bill. Yeah, that wasn't great penetration, but we talk about the ability to chain wrestle and chain your submissions together. And that's the thing that Gary has better than anyone in this game, is he chains all aspects of his grappling. And now in MMA, his striking and grappling together. So it's just one thing after another, and eventually he catches you in something. Now Gary sucks that knee line back in, gets full extension on that inside heel hook. All right, so let me remove the screen for you guys, and we'll go into our next match, which is going to be Rafa Mendes and Joao. We watched Joao and Nicky Ryan from last year's ADCC earlier this week. This is from 2013, all right? So I want you guys to think about that. Joao was competing at the highest levels 7 years ago, and now he's still at the highest levels competing, And this is I think this was Joao's first ADCC. I don't think he made it in 2011 because that was England. I think this is his first year as a black belt and the first time they got into ADCC, if I'm not mistaken. If I am, just correct me in the comment section. I'm mistaken all the time. Now, Rafa obviously has phenomenal leg drag passing, and has a great inverted game too. Joao, then the Meows are known for their berimbolos as well, their back takes, and it's really interesting because it's a very similar style. And I would kind of categorize both these guys at this time as more gi practitioners, even though they have a lot of success in no gi. Rafa does a real good job of staying in the pocket here and keeping the pressure going, which is very difficult against the Meows because they're so good at taking that pressure and using it to get underneath you and to the back. Apaku, I don't think Joao has much in the realm of wrestling, so it's not like he's going to take down Rafa, That was so nice right there. Rafa did that little donkey kick right in the knee on belly, and then Joao does a real good job of inverting through, faking the lace to at least get back to his guard. Those grips that Rafa uses on the hips are insane. When Rafa's passing, I want you guys to look at his grips right above Joao's butt. He gets it right on like his L4 or his L5 S1, right there at the base of the spine. Looking back now at these older matches, it makes a lot of sense to me that Joao now is starting to play a lot of leg locks because all of his sweeping attempts basically are leg lock entries, you know? So people are all amazed, and honestly, I was too when Joao immediately started, or when Joao started getting really good at leg locks recently. But I guess it was a long time coming if you just look at their style. And right away, Hoffa's not afraid of getting in there and putting his knee on the hip to control the hip with his legs. Right back in to that control. Nice little funk style wrestling there. From that double underpass to the turtle position. Joao's looking here in 50-50 to get an inside heel hook. Man, I forgot Hoffa tried to attack an inside heel hook. Fucking shit, of course. We get a commercial. Well, Cooper's got to make money too. So during that commercial break, go ahead and if you guys want to watch it, like I said, it's in Stuart Cooper's YouTube channel. It's so weird seeing Hoffa try to fucking attack an inside heel hook. Look at how shitty it is. He's ripping across. He's fucking extending his legs. It's on his forearm. But what's even crazier is 90% of the jiu-jitsu population would have tapped then. But both these Meow brothers have such dexterous ankles and knees and control where they have this ability to just eat these inside heel hooks. Even the ones who have extremely good breaking mechanics, like we saw them eat inside heel hooks from fucking Gary Tonin, you know? Such a good match, and really now that I've gotten into some of the videography and like streaming events and shit like that, I really appreciate how much time and effort Stuart puts into finding these angles and these matches, and then just his editing skills as well. It's nothing like flashy, but it's just very beautiful. If I get more sponsors, I will legit do this. I will do all my podcasts from a toilet, and there will be a bidet because I'm not a filthy fucker like the rest of you guys. I need to get a bidet sponsor is what I need. Changes your life. But again, look, Hoffa, man, it's really insane to me. Everybody, even myself, I forget how good Hoffa is. Such good transitions between those pressure and the movement passes, you know? Hoffa, I mean, their leg drags was and still are some of the best passing I've seen in the game. And them and what's his face? Bruno. So they, at least in ADCC, it depends on the rule set. The hand on the throat, it's totally legal as a frame, but the minute you start squeezing it together, it becomes illegal. Okay, you cannot attack the windpipe with your digits like that, but you can frame and push on it. They tell you that at every ADCC meeting, rules meeting. The other thing you notice in this match is Hoffa's sport or gamesmanship. You know, Hoffa's later into his competitive career. I think this was his last ADCC that he did. Joao is still in the beginning, so he does a real good job of not letting Joao get into a rhythm. You know, it's all Hoffa dictating the pace and when to go. Joao's in on a nice leg attempt here. Hoffa doing a good job of controlling that opposite leg with his armpit. He knows if Joao inverts through, he's in a dangerous position for a back take or a leg lock attempt. But look, right away, God, more of these commercials. Make your money, Stu. I'm not mad. But right away, it's Hoffa going back into the action. You know, Joao had nice attempts right there, but Hoffa goes in immediately. And that's something that, especially guys who are later in their career, they have to really rely on the knowledge of the rules and their overall knowledge of the game, because their athleticism and their technicality may be a little bit lower than these up and coming guys, but these upcoming guys don't usually have that same fighting mindset that these older guys do. Uh, that's why, like back when TRT, like you remember, like TRT Vitor and like all these guys in the UFC that were coming up that had like these TUEs, they had that youthfulness and that athleticism, but they still had that fight IQ that they developed over years and years of grappling and fighting. And that's what made them extremely dangerous. And this is pretty much, this match really showcases how much of a technical master and just the fight IQ of Hoffa is, because he gets his pressure going and you see Joao mentally kind of starting to not break, but it wears on him, you know? Yeah. The Mendes brothers are really, especially in their passing series, it's those controls with the hands. And when you're thinking about passing the guard, it's always about hip control, you know, especially against the Meow brothers, because they're so good at inverting through. You have to get through the different levels of their guard, their feet, their knees, their hips, kind of like leg locks. You have to control all those to get a good leg lock. You have to control that shit on the Meow brothers to get a good pass. And then you start transitioning to your upper body control. Biggest problem I see in a lot of guard passing is they transition too soon from hip control to upper body control, and people's hips come back underneath, or they transition too late to upper body control and their frames come in. So it's that timing. You got to find that timing. Here we're now in overtime. And there's 2 for Hoffa on that takedown. Good control. The takedown rules are, I mean, Seth Daniels says it the best. Nobody really understands ADCC rules except for the guys that make them. Most of the fighters don't understand it. That was a nice entry to 50-50 by Joao. Yeah, 100%. Vitor's fight IQ is still insane, and when you can get him on that special sauce that makes him move like he's 20 again, it's fucking scary. Yeah, Joao definitely does look like a dykey female on this in this match. Man, more commercials. Does anybody else get annoyed that anytime you're watching a grappling video, you pretty much have to hear John Danaher's voice in the fucking ads? Like Danaher's obviously a genius, but I'm so goddamn tired of hearing his voice. Right away, gets that left knee, his shin across the back of the knee. So now he's controlling the hips and the knee. Right back to this double under position. Joao right away to the De La Hiva, starts trying to invert. And now by this point in the match, or no, this wasn't overtime. This was when the points started. Hoffa is up on 2 for that takedown attempt. So Joao really has to come up for a sweep or get to a back take here to at least come up on a sweep would make it even. Coming to a back take would be a win for him. And you can start seeing that desperation on Joao's face here a little bit. And Hoffa knows he just needs to keep going. Yeah, I mean, Justin Raiders here, he's been to ADCC like 3 times. It's 100% true that the rules are very difficult, especially I think part of it is it only happens every two years, so there aren't that many other tournaments that have ADCC rules, and it makes it very difficult because especially they really make you work for your points. And don't go anywhere. We got another match coming up. We got John Kavanaugh versus Ali Getz, but and they make it very difficult to score, and that's one of the good things and also one of the bad things because it really makes you work and it entices action, especially when it comes to takedowns. If you turtle, that is not a takedown. You have to keep your opponent on the mat with their back on the mat. Yeah, they also give you extra points for like judo, belly to back, 5-point throws and stuff like that. But they really make you work. They don't immediately give you the points. They give you the points after like probably 4 to 5 seconds, maybe even longer than that sometimes, not your typical 2 to 3 seconds in most tournaments. So, yeah, it's very difficult. And, I mean, Raider is one of the best to compete, especially in that weight class of 66 kilos. And he's saying how hard it is to fucking keep track of it. So, it's it's interesting. All right, one more match. John Kavanaugh and Ali Getz. Also, I got Raider coming on the podcast soon. I got to message you today, dude. All right. So, John Kavanaugh versus Ali Getz. 2 of the greats of the UK scene. Let me get this out. So Kavanaugh is on top here in the no shirt. Ali Getz is below in the rash guard and spats. So one of these guys can get staff and the other guys are not. I don't even know where this is. Somewhere in the UK. I don't recognize this tournament. But you guys all know Kavanaugh, SBG. Right away, transitions from that turtle to the front headlock to a mounted guillotine. Look how fucking nasty that is. Ali Getz is such a monster too. Like, the UK has really, really high level grappling now, and there's not a lot of love for it. Now you're starting to see it a little bit more, like with Ashley, like the Williams brothers, and some of those guys coming up. But I mean, you had these top level guys that just weren't getting the love they deserved for so many years. Shout out to Emil. He's got Stuart Cooper coming on his interview tomorrow on his athlete page. Yeah, dude, Raider is one of the best. I remember watching him for years coming up, and really admirable seeing him at the trials in 2016, go all the way through that as well, especially after being so decorated. Look at this crushing pressure Kavanaugh has here. Hips are low. He's got his grapevine control, and he's starting to lean on him with that shoulder pressure on the right side. Really starting to put that pressure on and smother Ali. Before or after the conclusion of this match, we're going to go back and watch that transition from the front headlock straight to the guillotine because it was a very smooth transition. He just kind of flowed with him. Everybody forgets how good Kavanaugh was as a competitor because he's just such a great coach. sliding up, starting to isolate the arms. To see him control such a high-level competitor like Ali Gedz like this is really amazing. Now what he's trying to do is right back to that chin strap. What I was going to say is he was trying to get his knee underneath the left elbow of Ali there, because as he's sliding up to isolate the arms, you can't really attack until you get control of the armpits. But he's doing a real good job here with these grapevines, maintaining this mount control with the downward pressure of his hips. Coming through to a smother real early. Trying to see what the hell that banner says in the back, which tournament this was, so I can give them a shout out. Man, these guys are so young, and this got to be at least 10 years old. Hey, Emil, when you interview Stuart tomorrow, I want you to see if he remembers where this match took place and what year. Guard comes back for a moment. Now Ali Gedz on the deep half. Good tight underhook. Kavanaugh right away into that knee cut position. Hard to see what this entanglement here is. Looks like it was a back step for a moment, maybe looking for that knee bar, but now he's trying to separate the hands so he can pass. Really interesting to see how much the game has changed in the last 10 years. Unlocks the triangle. Starting to look for that pass again. Almost like a modified cradle here. Starts scooching his hips higher up. Ali's got a good body lock around him. Maybe he's going to think about trying to pull him over. Ali repummeling the foot. Boom. Keith with the win on points. So let's go back and just watch that initial scramble that led to the dominant positions for John. So he's in this knee cut position. Ali, I think, he comes deep half for a moment. Yeah, he turtles to stop the pass. Kavanaugh makes it look like back take, switches to that guillotine, and immediately follows him through to mount. That was very sick right there. Nice movement there. All right, so that's pretty much all I got for you guys on match breakdowns for today. I'll be back probably in like 30, 45 minutes. We're going to talk about Submission Underground. Maybe I'll bring Emil on because he seems to be in the comment section not doing anything. And then I got BMAC later today at 4 p.m. He's going to be giving away one of his courses on the podcast, so make sure you guys tune in for that, because BMAC's one of the best minds when it comes to business in jiu-jitsu, as well as one of the best coaches. So we're going to have a really good conversation. He's coaching some UFC fighters. He's coaching a lot of really good guys. So let's go ahead and get back here for 4 p.m. Eastern. I should be back probably in like 35, 40 minutes, and I'll talk with Emil probably and break down this upcoming Submission Underground card. All right, I'll see you guys in a bit.